Hi, everybody out there. This is the Adapters. I'm Sean Worker, and I am here with the roaming Glenn Hausman. We've switched chairs for a little bit, and this is an exciting show because Glenn has been out and about speaking to, working with, producing, and eating outdoors with other people. What has been going on, Glenn? Where have you been?
Oh, I actually ate indoors with people this past week. What an exciting
Were you invited, or did you just gate crash?
Whoever invites me anywhere, Sean. Come on.
Right.
The only way you'll talk to me is because we have an ocean between us. But that's another episode of the Adapters down the line. But Sean, I'm very excited because here in the United States, things are opening up again. We're starting to have this sense of getting back to normal. And for me, that means taking my No Vacancy live show out and about and on the road and having direct interaction with people. Something I've been sorely missing for way too long.
You're used to broadcasting and you're out there on the road. But tell us a little bit about how it felt as just you, not the producer and executive producer and show host. Just how did it feel when you went and met with others in groups, and what did that feel like?
Well, over the last year, I have gone places and we have been doing shows in public, but each time I felt restrained. I felt held back. Now everything has changed. This week, now that I'm double vaccinated and people that I was associating with are double vaccinated, it felt like a brand new day. It felt like that Phoenix, the rebirth. All of a sudden, things started to feel suspiciously normal, Sean. We were close with each other. We shook hands. Sean,
we actually shook hands. And were there some people that recoiled from that, or are they just all embraced it?
No, people are embracing it, I think, in large numbers amongst, anecdotally, the people I am with. But there is an awkward moment because I'm feeling comfortable, but how comfortable are you feeling? But once you figure that out, everything levels out like water and everybody starts to interact as if it was 2019 again. At least in my experience.
So you were doing some shows and you're in New York. So give us some context of the show. And I know you were doing back-to-backs and running around the place. So you just give us context of how the audience felt. Was there any difference in the events? Was there any protocols that were different?
No protocols were different. And when I say protocols, I mean pre-pandemic protocols. We sat near each other. Mm-hmm. I'm going and setting up these shows, and it's like I have one person here, another person across the room. We might as well be an ocean apart like you and I are right now. But this week, recording those shows in New York City, I was sitting right next to my co-host, Anthony. I was sitting right across the table from Jerry Inzarello, the hotelier's hotelier. Our second show, we sat 4 people next to each other. I sat next to the GM of the Mark Hotel, one of the top luxury hotels in the entire world. Anthony sat on the other side, and then we had a rotating series of guests. Jean-Georges was there, the world famous chef that we got to interview. He seemed normal. He recounted stories of going down to Union Square where they have a farmer's market, interacting with people and feeling normal again. So overall, we're getting there. We're feeling more comfortable. And all of those fears that people have, I think, quickly dissipate once they get together with other like-minded and vaccinated folks.
Did you see anything, we just came off a show talking about cities. Did you see any material change in how the cities were treating how citizens were going around, zones that were open and closed? Any observations at the municipality or city level?
Well, listen, I'm out here on Long Island, and I love to go into New York City from time to time. So I went in the night prior to doing this, and I stayed at the incredible Marriott Marquis, which has just been through a $150 million renovation over there to prepare for coming out of the pandemic. Times Square was busy. It was bustling. There was actually a private event happening right by the iconic steps where people were serving champagne, and they were all right next to each other. No arbitrary boundaries, all together, all once again acting like human beings prior to the pandemic. It was absolutely eye-opening and exciting to think that things.
No, we wrote in the book about the Roaring '20s, and actually spoke about that about a year and a half ago. Now it feels like that. And we spoke about the Raving 2020s. I just have this picture in New York City in Times Square on the steps where it's like that classic sailor nurse or whatever. You remember the scene? Was that happening? Were people just kissing each other in the middle of Times Square?
There were people kissing each other, but that was general. That was your general PDA. It's not like strangers and stuff like that, high-fiving and smooching or anything like that. Everybody was still in their pods, but it wasn't as if
no post World War II for
no, nothing like that. But it was like old New York City to me in a lot of ways. People were really people were interacting with each other in a way that could have been described as normal a couple of years ago. The city has done a great job in starting to reopen up. It's giving people more confidence. It's making people want to go outside. Plus, we're in springtime, so everything is kind of leveling out.
So before we get to short takes, you were telling me off camera about the Mark and that they've expanded their capacity or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. The Jean-Georges restaurant that they have over there, they were limited because of the size of the building they had. But during this particular crisis, New York City allowed folks to put tables outside on the sidewalk. Then they decided to expand that even further to put, to create things in the street. Sure, it takes away parking, but it created more opportunity to add seats. And therefore, these restaurants can now do more covers. The Mark in particular has a lot of local business, and this opens them up to being able to increase sales in a way that they never could have before. How interesting is that?
Well, apart from the city enabled it, right? Hopefully the hoteliers are banging on the doors around in all the key cities around the world and taking that lead and saying, let's do things differently. But anyway, I know you've got a few short takes that
I do.
After all these travelings and being out and about with people.
I know. All right. So listen, everybody, don't go too fast. You got to run before you walk. It's all about baby steps. The first time I started to emerge from the COVID cocoon, I was tentative. I was nervous. And I had to make sure that I did things in the way that made me feel increasingly comfortable over time. So it's about getting to a level of comfort on the demand and the supply side for hoteliers out there and for other folks in travel, tourism, and hospitality. As people and travelers become more comfortable, so will hoteliers being able to open up and loosen some of the restrictions that we've gotten accustomed to, particularly here in the United States. Now that over 100 million adults are fully vaccinated, people are getting comfortable, but we have to be sure that people don't get too comfortable until we have herd immunity. Additionally, as I mentioned with the Mark, this is an opportunity to expand capacity without having to expand capital demand, other than getting a few tables and chairs and maybe some lighting over at the Home Depot or something like that. But most important, it gives people a chance to reevaluate what their new normal is going to be. It's a great reset. I had the chance, Sean, to be home for this past year, and it made me think, do I want to travel 150 nights a year like I used to? Maybe I don't. Maybe I want to reinvent how I live, how I work, and how I interact with others. Whatever I come down to, I know that it's okay and that I'm going to feel safe because I've been double vaccinated. People are getting back out there. We're interacting with each other, and life's going to head back to normal.
Thanks, Glenn. And, as we wrap up the show here, this is all about taking the baby steps. It's thinking about regenerating. It's what a city means. It's getting out with people, making that first step to make the other person comfortable, and equally get your work done and question everything about it. Whether you're on the road for 150 days a year, you're going back to work part-time, full-time, or splitting your time. This is an incredible time to adapt, innovate, and continue to follow our show as we think through those things that are all about adaptation and innovation. Tune in again soon for our next show. Thanks, Glenn. It's been nice switching chairs.
Yeah, it was exciting.